Hello, I am Patricia and I'm looking forward to practicing with you today. I have a 45-minute yoga flow. We'll start with some energizing, set our intention, go through some movement and then have a rest towards the end. Please work with the body that you have today and make any changes or modifications and use props to make the practice work for your body. I have some props here and I'll show how I like to integrate them within this particular flow. So to begin, we're going to take a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you, and we're going to rub our hands together to start to build some heat, and we'll just wake up the body as we move using touch. So we're going to take our hands, you take the tops of your fingers and just start to tap around the head, maybe down the jaw, down the neck, maybe starting to brush and give a squeeze by the shoulder, brushing down the arms, sitting on the other side. Maybe back to the hands, finding that friction and heat, and then maybe tapping across the chest, around the torso, into the armpit with a side lead, and brushing and patting down the back, and the same with the legs, giving them a brush. Even the feet. And after all that, we're going to come back to our comfortable seat. Maybe rock side to side so you find that balance point. We'll bring one hand to the chest, one hand to the belly, and just notice the quality of the next 3 breaths. So we don't need to do anything or change anything. Just noticing the inhale and the exhale. And setting a dedication or an intention for your practice. You can even just be asking yourself, why have you come to your mat today? What do you want from this practice? What will you take to your day? And while we're seated, we're going to bring the hands forward. So we're going to do some wrist prep. So with the palms facing up, I like to curl each finger in. So I'm starting at the little finger, and then bringing it into the thumb, then drawing a circle with the wrist, and then undoing each finger. So we're going to take some of these wrist circles, and it's like drawing each finger one at a time in and undoing it. We'll take one more this way, and then we're going to reverse it. So the thumbs are going to come in first and the little fingers last, then the thumbs out, and then rotating in, circling around one more. So thumb first, then finger, and then we're going to flick the hands open and closed as fast as you can. And then while we're here, we're going to open the arms out to the side. We're going to reach up, bring the arms forward, keeping those fingers, hands opening, closing, out, up, last time, forward, out, up, and then just shaking and maybe giving the shoulders a shake, allowing everything to be a bit floppy after that. We're going to take the One hand is going to reach up and over, so we're going to have a side bend. And then from here, the hand that's lifted is going to your knee, and the hand that was on the floor is going to draw a circle towards the back, up and over. So we find ourselves in this rounded position. And then undoing that, we're going to repeat to the other side. So your other hand's going to come up and over first of all. And then drawing a circle to the opposite knee. And the hand that was on the floor draws a circle up and over, noticing the feeling of how rounded back, maybe swaying side to side. And undoing that, taking both hands behind you and just feeling the lift of the chest. And then from here, we're going to come to our all fours. We'll continue our wrist warm up. So you can bring the knees as close as you want to the wrists. You can also do this on a higher surface, or you can even put your hands against the wall as you draw circles around the wrists. Just testing how it feels to have a bit of weight on that. So what it looks like against the wall is you'll have the hands there, and it's the same principle, rocking side to side or round in a circle. And then whichever surface you have chosen to work with, we're going to lift and place each hand down. So it's a bit like a cat lifting the paws. So we're going through the hands. So from the side, it looks like this. And then turning the hands to face out, and maybe around the clock, turning the fingers in, forward, out, maybe placing the back of one hand down, placing the back of the other hand down, and do a last little bit of wrist conditioning. So from the side, what it is we're keeping the fingers and the thumbs down, and then we're just lifting the palm of the hands up and lowering down. So then from the front, I'm keeping the fingers and the thumb, tip of the thumb down, lifting the wrist, lowering down. We're going to take 10 of these. So we're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then from here, allowing the chest to lift, the hips to lift, the belly to drop, and just give a wiggle here. And then allowing the pelvis to like tuck under, the shoulders to round. And moving between these two shapes. So with the belly down, so we've got an back extension, and then we're rounding through the back. And one more. And we're going to extend the left leg back, so then the left leg's going to be just behind, keeping the pelvis level just for this exercise. So noticing if you're lifting the hip up, we want the knee pointed down, and then reaching the right arm away, we'll hold, bring the right arm down, and then bending that knee. You can even come up to your fingertips. We're going to bring it through, step it as if we're going for a kneeling position, then we're coming into like a hello low lunge. So making it easy for position for you. I like to lean a bit forward. It can also be more of a kneeling position. And then the same arm as your back leg, so your right arm is going to reach up and over. So we're taking a side bend, leaning to the left. And then we're going to place both hands down in line with the foot and bring the hips back so the leg comes straight-ish. Again, maybe just rocking the foot side to side as we're warming up. And then coming back to the lunge, the right hand is down in line with the left foot and the left arm is going to reach up. So we're in a twisted lunge. And from here, we're going to bring that left leg so it can step back. We're coming back to that all fours position. We'll repeat that on the other side. So I'm going to swap the way around that I'm facing so that the right leg's coming back. We've got a lift, keeping this hip facing down. The left arm is going to reach forward, just noticing that moment of balance. And bringing the hand down, and we're going to step that left leg, coming into that kneeling position, maybe easing into the low lunge, the first one of this side. Maybe rocking a bit side to side, allowing everything to be easy. And then from here, maybe bringing it more to the kneeling or the low lunge. The right hand can be rested on the leg. The left arm's going to reach up and over to the side, to the right. So it looks like this. Again, keeping it easy. And bringing the hands, that left hand down in line with the right foot, so then the right hand can reach up into a twisted low lunge. And we're going to come back to the all fours position. And from here, we're going to tuck our toes and we'll lift the hips into the downward facing dog as it's the first one. Keeping it easy, the legs can be bent. And we're going to walk the feet to the hands close-ish, taking as much of the bend as you need to roll the spine to standing. Reaching the arms up, we can take a back bend with the chest. Then we're going to roll down, tucking the chin into the chest. Coming down, back to all fours. So we're going to add on similar sequence to the one we did before. So left leg is going to reach back. Right arm reaches forward. Bring the hand down, that left leg comes forward to the low lunge. We're reaching that right arm up and over towards the left. The hands come by the foot, bringing your hips back into the hamstring stretch. Coming back for the right hand down, left arm reaches up into that low lunge twist. And this time, keeping the support on the ground of the right leg and the right hand, we're just going to circle that left leg back around. You can adjust as you need. So we're taking a side plank variation with lots of support on the ground. Feeling the strength in your leg and your arm and the lightness in this top hand. And then we're going to circle it down to all fours to start with the right. So this time the right leg is coming back, left arm reaches forward. The left hand comes down, the right leg comes forward for that low lunge. This time your left hand is going to reach over to the right side. Bringing the hands in line with that foot, bringing the hips back to take a hamstring stretch. And it might not be super obvious, but I have got a bend in my knee Keep it easy. You're choosing the intensity of the stretch and sensation. Coming back into the low lunge. So this time I've got my left hand down. The right arm is going to reach up. And so I'm staying here so you can see it from the back. So that I'm bringing the weight onto the left side. The right leg is just sliding back to this variation of side plank with the left knee down. Feeling that strong base and gravity that allows this top arm to be light. And we're circling it back down to all fours. Tucking the toes, lifting the hips. And again, finding that adjustment to your down dog. It might be that the feet are wider this time. Feeling that pushing down into the hands and into the feet that allows the hips to be light. And then walking the feet to the hands, rolling up through the spine. And as the head reaches up, the arms reaching up, maybe the chest lifts. And this time we're going to roll all the way down. And we'll take a halfway lift, so the head lifts to the hips, height of the hips. We're going to place the hands down. There's a choice to be on all fours or plank. And wherever you are, we're going to bend the elbows and lower all the way down. And starting this first back bend quite low, so it's the back of the head and the shoulder blades drawing back to lift. And we're going to lower through our vinyasa, coming through child's pose. So we're pushing back up to child's pose. We're going to lift the hips. And from wherever you are, shifting the weight to the right so then the left leg feels light. Lifting that left leg and stepping it through. So to step it through, bring that knee in. It's almost like it's coming to the armpit, folding all the way forward. And I'm stepping on the outside, coming to that low lunge. So same, with a bit added on. So we've got our low lunge. We'll reach the arms up. And then we're going to bring that left arm just to the hip to reach into that side bend with the right. We'll bring the hands down to the foot, shift the hips back into that hamstring stretch. Coming forward, we're going into the twisted high lunge, right hand down, left arm reaches up. Option to bring that knee back down to slide to side plank. Or there's an option of trying, bring that weight into the hand, into the foot, and maybe stepping back. Your choice. And we're going to bring that hand down, coming back to our downward facing dog. And there's the option to walk to the front, or it might be taking little hops, or float, your choice. We'll roll all the way up. At the top, the arms reach up, maybe the chest lifts. Arms are going to come down. Placing the hand to the belly, hand to the chest. We take one breath in stillness. Ready to go on the right side. We're going to inhale, the arms are going to float up first. And then we're going to roll down through the spine. All the way down to the forward fold. Taking that halfway lifts with the chest and the head. Folding back down. Placing the hands down. Option to come to all fours or to plank. And then even bringing the knees down, the option you can bend the elbows lower down. Positioning the hands, and it's the back of the head, the shoulder blades drawing back, the glutes engaged, just finding that easy back bend, lowering down. And then from here, putting some effort into the hands to come through all fours or child's pose into downward facing dog. Right leg lifts and it's stepping it forward, folding in towards the armpit, pushing up into the hands, coming into that low lunge, both arms lift. Right arm's going to circle down towards the hip, the left arm reaches over. Bringing both hands by the foot, bringing the hips back, easing into the hamstring stretch. Coming back into that low lunge, the left hand's down, the right arm lifts, maybe lifting that back knee. Option to keep that knee down as you slide that front foot to the back, or there's the option to step that foot to side plank, hold. We come to downward facing dog and making the journey of the feet up to the hands and rolling up through the spine. As the head arrives, the arms float up, hands come down. One hand to chest, one hand to belly. Checking in with your breath. Checking in with where you're feeling the effort and where you're feeling the ease. Last time through this variation of this sequence with a couple of add-ons. So we'll reach our hands up, maybe to look up. And as the hands come down, rolling through the spine, making that journey to forward fold. Halfway lift as the head and chest lifts. Placing the hands, optional fours or plank, and making it an easy way to lower down. Finding your choice of back bend, drawing the shoulders back, keeping it easy, we're lowering down. And we're going to push through the hands, through the knees, we're coming through all fours, or through child's pose to downward facing dog. Pouring the weight onto the right, the left leg floats up and back. We're going to step that left leg forward, this time keeping that back knee lifted, coming up to a high lunge, reaching hands up, and then from here the hands are going to come either side of the front foot, and that front leg's going to straighten-ish, so you can step that back leg in as you need. Just make this easy and it work. You can also have your blocks, making the shape work for you, not to you fit in the shape. And we're coming back, so the way into the right hand, that back knee's lifted, we're coming into that twisted high lunge. I'll show you with the blocks. I've got my hand on the block so I can keep that there. Coming into high plank, so that can be an option for you. And then from here I'm going to step off it. If you've got two blocks you can stay there. We can lower all the way down to go through our Vinyasa with the back bend, coming through child's pose, down facing dog. Right leg lift, stepping that right leg forward, gathering that energy and strength through the core to come up to our high lunge. And allow yourself to settle. Maybe bringing your hands down onto blocks as we straighten that front leg-ish, maybe stepping in that back leg, finding what works, and it might not be the same on each side. Then bending into that front leg, coming into the twist. I'll show you this side, so keeping my hand on the block. It helps me just to find that twist. bringing then, placing the hands, that leg can slide, and I can keep my hand here for the side plank. We're bringing that hand down, we can come to all fours. Plank, we're going to lower down, coming through the back bend, so the shoulders drawing back, the back of the head lifting back, lowering down. And then we're going to push up and back to child's pose and downward facing dog. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths, so really finding that push into the hands and into the legs, and finding where you're wanting to feel some sensation today. Sometimes it might mean having a wider hand, so if this is my normal position, I might choose to have them a bit wider. Or some days it might mean that my leg, the down dog's a bit longer. I'm drawing the attention to the breath. And this time we're going to walk the hands back to the feet. So bending the knees, keeping it easy. And then the forward fold, just clasping the elbows and rocking side to side. And then allowing that clasp to drop as we roll up through the spine. And as we come to standing, rolling the shoulders back. Maybe bringing that one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest. Checking in with the breath. I'm going to step forward to the front of the mat, taking a standing sequence. So we're going to bring our weight onto the right leg, so then the left leg is just here. We're going to take balance, keeping it easy. And you're going to step that leg back to your high lunge. So taking a long step. And we're just going to take a moment to play with this movement that we often do. And that's when we almost like that move from warrior 1 to warrior 2. And so we're going to initiate it from the hip and watching like the back foot. So what happens as we open the hip, we spin on that back foot and then finding that comfortable warrior 2 position. And then we're going to reverse it. So it's almost like that spiral that comes from the foot and ends in the hips. So then that foot's going to start that spiral, it goes through the leg. Having a little play with this movement, finding that spiral, making it work. So the knee is easy, it's moving with it. I'm not moving with a lot of tension through the leg or trying to keep it straight. And once we find that warrior 2 position, just finding that bend in the legs, finding the arms, finding where you're looking at. We'll take 3 breaths. Using that strength and stability in the legs to find the ease in the upper body. And we're going to use the same movement, bring the hands to the hips. So we're spiraling from that foot to come back to our high lunge. I'm going to step forward to meet at the top of your mat. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So I'm just going to turn around. And this time we'll start with the right leg. It's going to lift, and if there are any wobbles, just allowing them to be there. And then after our balance, we're stepping that leg back, finding that high lunge. And again, finding what it is to find that spiral for this movement that we do quite a lot we can do quite a lot in yoga sequences. And so that's that foot that rotates on the ball of the foot. And it spirals up to the hip, opening out. Trying that a couple more times. And we're going to finish in that warrior two. So it's that heel that's down, parallel with the back of the mat, finding that bend in the front leg. And then just allowing the arms just to float, just finding that ease in the line that comes from the strength of your legs. Or maybe looking through past the fingertips. Here for a couple of breaths. And using that spiral to turn back around towards that high lunge, and we'll step it forward. And so I'm going to swap sides. We're going to start with the left leg. We're going to add on. So we're going to lift and hold. Stepping it back, we're coming through that high lunge. The hands can be on the hips. Finding that spiral through that back foot to find our warrior two. And then from here, we're just going to explore what it is to transfer the weight and the movement of the pelvis. So we've got a bend in that warrior two leg. It's going to straighten, then we're going to bend into that back leg we've put down. So we've got that warrior two leg. It's going to straighten and we shift and we bend a little bit into the other leg. So what's this movement like? Can it be playful? Can it be fun? And keeping going with that shifting of the weight, what happens if we make it a little bit shorter? And then finishing in this position where we've got the left leg bent and exploring what it's like to go from that little bit of a bend to find and maybe catch a bit of air and maybe a bit of balance on the other leg. Keeping it easy, springy and light. It's like you've got a little trampoline underneath. And then once it's landed, we'll come back to that warrior two, finding that spiral. I'm going to step that leg forward, coming to standing. We'll repeat that on the right leg. Right leg lift and hold. We're going to step that leg back into your high lunge. That spiral is going to move through that right foot, opening us into a warrior two. And again, we're going to shift the weight between a bend into the right leg and into the left leg, warrior two. And maybe exploring what happens if you were to bend into that right leg and maybe hop it in a little bit. And then maybe what happens if you can find a bit of a balance. And then refinding that warrior two. Finding that spiral back into the high lunge. And we'll step it forward. And we're going to put that all into a sequence with a vinyasa. So we're going to inhale, the arms are going to float up. Exhale as you fold forward. Taking a halfway lift with the next breath. Maybe going from your plank, we're going to lower all the way down or from your all fours. Finding the back of the head, drawing back, shoulders down through your back bend. And making your way to downward facing dog. And then from here, the left leg is going to lift. It's going to step forward. And we're going to come up through our high lunge, lifting the arms over the shoulders and finding that spiral through that right leg. So you'll see this sequence from behind this time. Finding that warrior two. And we're going to shift the weight slightly, maybe heel toeing that foot in. And then maybe trying a couple of moments that finding that balance. And when you find that balance onto one leg, we're going for exploration of that half moon. And it could be up here, and it's always okay to put the foot down. If it's more familiar to you, you can always find bringing that hand down or staying more upright. We'll come back to the warrior two. Finding that spiral into the back leg, lifting the arms up into the high lunge. I'm going to step forward to the top of the mat. Ready to go. Last side. Arms are going to reach up overhead. We'll take the Vinyasa, folding forward. Inhale, taking the halfway lift and placing the hands. Keeping that awareness of the breath coming through to your plank or all fours. We lower all the way down. Taking the back bend of choice. I'm going to lower down and meet in downward facing dog. And this time the right leg floats up. It steps forward to that high lunge. Arms come up, reaching forward and overhead. That spiral starts in the ball of the back foot. Finding that warrior two. We're going to transfer that weight, and maybe it's a step in, and then using that just to start to find that bit of balance as we go, finding where that half moon is today. And it can be here, balancing on one leg. Maybe there's a softness in the bottom knee that takes you can bring that hand to a wall, to your leg, and just finding where it is today. And if it wobbles and your foot comes down, it's all good. And from wherever you are, we're going to come back into that warrior two. And then starting the spiral at the back leg, reaching the arms up into the high lunge. We're going to step forward, bringing the hand to the belly and hand to the chest. Finding some stillness. Feeling your feelings. And just noticing what that particular sequence, what that brought up for you. And very easily allowing the hands to drop, just allowing the head to be heavy, rolling down through the spine. Softening in the knees, and then as the hands come down, allowing them to support you to come to an easy seat. And just allowing them from there, the legs to come in front. And we're going to take a really easy forward fold. So just allowing the hands to walk, allowing the feet just to be softly pointed, maybe even the knees to be bent. Finding the variation of this position that allows you to be here for 5 breaths. And then walking the hands back up. Take Janu Shirshasana, so that's one foot's just going to come and find this figure 4 shape against your leg. And again, just taking a breath and then finding that point where you maybe walk the hands forward, holding it with ease and noticing what your mind does as we slow it down. Walking the hands back and bringing the foot of the leg that was bent just flat on the floor. There's the option, you can keep it on the same side, you can cross the leg over, your choice. And the same arm as your straight leg's going to reach forward, the same arm as your bent leg's just behind. I'm going to take a twist by hugging that leg and gently, easily looking behind you. And keeping the legs where they are, just bringing the body, the torso, just to look to the other side. Allowing that leg to slide forward. We'll just place both hands behind, just take a stretch through the front of the body. Taking the second side. So the other leg's just going to bend and just be placed against the leg that's out in front of you. And just allowing the hands to walk forward, finding that position, that folding from the hips. It just allows you to drop in to checking in with what's going on with the body and where your breath is. And walking the hands back. And then placing that foot, it can be on the same side of your leg or you can cross it over. And the same arm as your bent leg is just behind you as you reach that same arm as your straight leg to give it a hug. As you gently, easily twist, maybe to look behind you. Keeping the legs where they are, twisting to the other side. And finding a position so where the legs, and you can give yourself a hug, you can make space for your body as you hug in. And placing the feet, and you can allow the hands just to support you as you're rolling down. Hugging the legs in. Allow the knees to rock side to side. Really straightening one leg and bringing that other leg across the body into a twist. And coming back to center, hugging both legs in. The other leg goes straight and then taking that leg across for a twist. And then coming back to center, maybe having one last easy hug of the legs. And finding a rest position for you. That might be in the semi-supine with the feet on the floor and the knees up to the ceiling. There's an option for your legs to be out straight, or any other position that allows for you to rest. settling in and closing your eyes. Allowing the body to be heavy on the floor. Finding ease with where you're looking or with the eyes closed. Noticing that breath, the inhale and the exhale for 1 minute, just for you. Maybe making the next inhale a bit longer and starting to flicker your fingers and toes. Maybe taking a yawning style movement along the floor in whatever position you're in. Maybe finding that circles and reach away, and gradually, slowly making the way to the side to a seated position. And we're just going to finish rubbing the hands together, finishing like we began, just taking a tap across the body, reawakening it after that moment of rest. Maybe brushing down the legs, bringing the hands together, and just taking a moment of gratitude. And thank you for practicing along with me. I hope you have a wonderful day.